Hi, everybody. This is Tamara Childs, psychic on One Two Listen, and host of Elements of Wisdom. And we're here again with my friend, astrologer and sound healer, Ruth McCants. Hey, Ruth.
Hey there. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well. We were just talking about the heat of the summer is sort of coming for a lot of us, although it's cloudy where you are.
Right now, but other places in California, it's very strange over here, 112 and just 70 miles up the road, but it's cool here in Los Angeles.
We're having a heat wave, and I'm setting our reminder so that because we're doing a summer series now, and we decided we want to do an inspirational summer series on YouTube, just talking about the weekly energy and special things that are coming up, because this is a big summer. We have an eclipse coming up, but we're not there yet, so we're not going to talk about that quite yet. But our purpose is really just to provide a little bit more support to people who are kind of wanting to stay in touch with their cycles. And so today we were going to talk not only about the moon cycles and how they affect us and affect our planning, because I know that's something you really specialize in as well. And it's very important to know what cycle you're in. So we're just going to talk. Today's Thursday. It's the 22nd of June, and we are in that dark moon phase before the new moon. We have a new moon tomorrow, late afternoon. And so how would you describe this time before the new moon? I always feel like it's a tunnel or a corridor, or it's like this 4:30 a.m. before the sunrise. It's kind of a dark moment for people sometimes.
Well, I think it's both. I like your description of a tunnel, because yesterday with the summer solstice, that's like a portal, and it's similar, very, very similar. So when you walk through or make the decision that I really want to explore myself from the inside out, this is really a time of inside out, as opposed to when we're in full summer and we hit Leo and everything is buzzing and shining. This is a little more quiet because it's going in. And so it's a great time to sit and meditate and walk and just decide what it is that you would like to see flourishing in your life, desires.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way you're sort of setting the perspective about Leo coming later, and that's the time for full-on fire. But this moment, because we're moving into a new moon in Cancer, it's a very different energy. I have clients that the week before the new moon, and the few days before the new moon can be really somber for people sometimes. It can feel like we don't have the energy to do whatever it is we think we need to do. And sometimes we'll push during that dark hour, and it's almost like that moment, the darkest moment before the sunrise, where you feel like, or 2 a.m, where you feel like that's the time to rest. It's not the time to push forward, because we don't have the support of the light. And so it can be a time that I think people feel a little dreary. Have you heard of that or experienced that yourself?
Well, generally what I've experienced is and that's a great one, with that 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. It's a time to do the best you can to get as quiet and just receive what's coming through, rather than, because see, we're so geared to grabbing, and I want to have things come exactly like I think they're supposed to be. But it's really the time to just take that very deep breath and allow yourself to come into that new birthing, because that's really what it is. We are having a new birth moment. We're rebirthing all the time. We think we get born, and we do, but we're rebirthing new things all the time. So it's it's really time to open and receive. Just receive what the universe is attempting to send to us.
That's an interesting challenge, and I think that's a challenge of this week. I know there are a couple of other very interesting aspects. Sun square Chiron, and also we have Neptune in retrograde right now, and I feel like this is definitely a time where some people may have felt like their tuning is off, and part of that is struggling with what is, struggling with that it shouldn't be this way. And I think one of the things that's been most helpful this week is the recognition that everything that is happening is perfect right now.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ways to eliminate resistance that I've found is to just embrace what is in this moment. It doesn't mean it's not going to change or we're not going to change it, but just to say, this is exactly right just now. Even if it's something you don't want to have right now, it's helpful to say that because you eliminate the resistance because you're giving it a hug.
I like that. I love that. You're giving it a hug. I like that. Yes, indeed. The other thing that occurs to me as you mentioned Neptune, it's actually a futile effort. Have you ever tried walking in water? You can tread water, but it becomes very important when you're in a swimming pool or lake or wherever you happen to be. You have to relax with the water. I go back to that again. All of this water energy is a metaphor for relaxing into what is being given to us. We actually have these gifts that are coming through, but because we want to direct things, again, I want to repeat, our culture to some extent sets us up to always wanting to grab whatever is going on. And this kind of energy is not that kind of energy.
That's interesting. Yeah, especially this moment before the new moon when we're meant to be resting, and soon enough there will be I like to say a pinprick of light in a place in each of our charts, and that's going to be the Cancer new moon tomorrow. And maybe we could talk a little bit about the Cancer energy, because we do have some water in the atmosphere right now, and we're going to have more with the new moon. And so Cancer, how do you feel about the Cancer energy? How does that light up for you?
Well, it lights up very well for me because I must confess, I'm a sun sign Pisces. I got water everywhere. Mm-hmm. So that blending of water feels very, very, very good. But what happens with Cancer, it is the sign of emotional connection with self, very much wanting to go. And since we're talking about the phase of the moon, the dark moon, I can't emphasize enough, it's that inward and we have to learn to accept that there are times when we have to go inward and just really listen to ourselves, listen to the messages, take a piece of paper, you can doodle, you can do anything you want in terms of expressing it, but it is an inward energy. It's not outward. Now,
yeah, and it's a cardinal energy though. So that's important as well for folks listening to know that when this moon hits tomorrow, cardinal energy is aggressive. And so what would cardinal energy in Cancer be? Aggressive self-care, aggressive about comfort, yes. Aggressively like the crab, finding its little treasures in its home and burrowing into the sand.
That's so well put. Absolutely. I like that. Aggressive about surrounding oneself. Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful.
Burrowing into. Mm-hmm. So I think the idea of what comforts you and what cares for you, how do you feel cared for? How do you need to aggressively care for others and yourself are things that come up during the Cancer period. It's interesting because, 4th of July falls in this span of time, right? Governed by this, home and family, and people often gathering with their families around the 4th. And so I wanted to say to people watching this, because I know sometimes people are kind of thrashing around in whatever's going on for them, that with the new moon, we are going to there is a sense of focus that always happens with the new moon. We always feel something plugged in. Our wiring gets plugged in a little bit.
Well, as you're saying that, one of the things that I would encourage each person to do is to look at their chart and find the particular house where the moon and the sun, because you see, we got a new moon. We have, for a tiny little space of time, the sun in Cancer and the moon in Cancer are sitting together. So that's a double blend. That's a conjunction. That means they're coming together. Mm-hmm. But the main thing is to look at your chart and find out what house, because that gives you information in terms of what to do, what to plan, how, as you put it, how to aggressively say, if your new moon is sitting in the 5th house, you are aggressively at this point using creativity mm-hmm. for self-care, mm-hmm. exploring. Maybe you want to work with children or call forth your own inner child. This is the time to do it. Yeah. So the houses can be very helpful in knowing that way you can narrow things down, as opposed to hopping all over the place. Narrow it down to that particular house where your sun and your new moon is sitting.
Yeah, I think so, because even, what I love about astrology is even if you don't study it, it's still affecting you. And so you're still going through the growth patterns and the connections and the disconnections and stress patterns that are indicated through that clock. I'm wondering, I just lost my thought about the Cancer new moon energy that I was going to say, and that's okay. I'd love for us to maybe draw a couple of cards for this week. I mean, we are planning the summer series on Thursdays, that's fine. But this will be maybe for the new moon energy. And so we're each I think we're working with different decks today.
Yes, we're working with different decks today. I'm actually using numerology today because the moon is very much wound up with cycles, and numbers are cycles. So, okay, so you're playing with that one, and I'm playing with this one, and we're going to draw a new moon card here.
Yeah, new moon in Cancer for you guys. And, for everybody.
Yeah, some people will get it sooner, because the Mother Earth, she's moving, so their new moon will start a few hours before us. Okay, I'm picking card now, and let's see, what do I get? All right. Whoa. Think you like this one.
Let's see.
I got love partnership.
You are kidding. Do you want to know what I got?
What'd you get?
Aphrodite. Okay, everybody, it's going to be a love time.
Yes, it's a love fest here, everybody.
Especially for you workaholic people who've been,
that's right,
pushing the pedal to the metal about everything has to be about getting my career in order. There is some other focus for you, and it has to do with apparently love. One of the reasons we like to draw cards is to see how they match up, and we never know.
That's right.
That's amazing. And so, of course, Aphrodite is of the heart chakra. So, guys, new moon in Cancer, you may be investigating opening some doors that have been kind of dusty and rusty and kind of closed up and locked up, and just put a little oil on those heart doors and open up that heart with this new moon in Cancer. And it can be in any direction. It could be love of you. It could be love of your family. It could be an increased capacity for love in any direction. even just loving your life could be very much a part of this. And Aphrodite, of course, is known for connecting you with, you know, a love partnership, as Ruth is suggesting with her card. Anything you want to add?
Yes, in fact, I just got a thought that there are some people, particularly artistic, creative people, but writers just came across my intuitive wavelength.
Yeah.
Love that book. Love that piece of work that you've tucked away. Bring it back out and reconnect yourself with those artistic projects. This is a perfect time to love those kinds of things, because Cancer is, we didn't mention this, but it is a very, very creative sign.
Yeah, very sensitive and shifting with, you know, I mean, I'm picturing a crab, you know, when somebody is, you know, taking some video of a crab and how when the crab alerts to something it doesn't like in its environment, it quickly shuffles under, you know, very, very sensitive and action oriented with that sensitivity. Yes. So I love
Yes, it is action. I'm glad you said that, because even the word aggressive, but I think action oriented in their own way. I think that's the one. They will take action if they see something that threatens that self-care. They scurry away.
Or those they love. And there's one more thing I would like to say too, Ruth, because I have a lot of conversations with people who are concerned that to love the self and say the most loving thing for you right now is to take some time for you, or do something that's just something you want to do but not bring your partner along. There's a lot of concern about being selfish in love, in loving the self. And I think right now there's just been a little bit of burnout, and I don't know if it's related to that Sun Square Chiron for people, but I feel like people need to really tune in each day, not just with the new moon, and ask, what would be most self-nurturing for me? What do I need? What cares for me? And then let that ripple out. Feel strong enough to tell the people in your life, you know, it would be very self-caring if I didn't go to the party with you right now.
You know, you put your finger on a really big, in some ways, a dilemma. Because again, I reference back to the cultural teachings that do for others, but you're supposed to kind of do for you. But it's actually the reverse, because you cannot really share, serve, love, be with other people if you haven't taken care of your own body, mind, spirit, soul.
Yes, that is so true. And in fact, it's known that when someone has, for example, a spouse where they have to care for that person needs help, that the spouse who's caring for them becomes the caregiver. And I really want people listening to this, if you are in a caregiver role in any capacity, it can even be, you know, just in any capacity, just be aware you have actually special needs that Cancer wants to attend to.
Yes,
in the realm of self-care, because it actually, intensive caregiving, it's very common for the caregiver to go 3 months after the person they've been caring for. You know, it's very stressful. And so I'm speaking to the stress that comes up when we habitually put others before us in a way that is not self-caring. So just be aware of that as the new moon comes up with this cardinal, watery, self-protective energy. Let that work for you if you're watching this.
Well, I'm going to ask very specifically that each person, it doesn't have to be a lot, but maybe make a decision of 3 things, just 3 things that you're willing to do for yourself. You see, when I'm planning, that's where the Cancer actually is very focused. And so if we make a decision, and this new moon is about creating something through the cycle from yesterday, June 21st through July 23rd, use this as a time to actually watch, make three, plant three seeds. I'm calling them seeds, moon seeds.
Yeah.
And take these three moon seeds and actually make a decision about self-care and carry those out through this entire cycle. You can use a little journal. Like I said, you can doodle, you can do whatever you want, but keep track of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because just that mere work of doing it for yourself and your intention to say, okay, I'm going to stay conscious of these three things for myself, changes start happening.
Yeah, because sometimes we get into a pattern where we're just habitually doing things that are actually too stressful, and we're getting stressed and we're not taking good care of ourselves. That's our timer, because you and I love to talk, and we have so much to say that we are on a strict schedule for the summer series. But basically, I just, that's the psychic note I have for people is stress, psychic stress, physical, energetic, and nervous stress. Using what Ruth is saying, using this new cycle from the solstice approximately to the next, to the 23rd, when Leo comes in, let this be about aggressive self-care and self-love, Aphrodite.
And partnership. And I'm going to add one more word, play.
Yeah.
For adults, that's like, what? Play. Play.
Well, that'll be part of our Leo show, I think.
Yes,
play,
that'll take us.
sure. And, but Cancer is the child. So remember also the needs of your inner child, because I think during this phase, some issues that come up for us are related to our inner child. That things may remind us of, just triggers where we've had, when we were, 9 and we felt like, well, I can't ask for certain attention because mom is stressed and busy with something else. And so if that is coming up for you now, like, well, I can't ask for more attention because the person that I want it from is stressed, that's part of the inner child work. So we're going to be continuing this for everyone. We're going to just pop up on video every Thursday for the summer. And you can also write your comments and questions or write to us about what you would like to see more of. And Ruth, how can people get in touch with you for a little bit more of your wisdom?
Well, they can visit me at Google, Soul Sound Insights at Google. And then you can send an email to me, because I'd love to know what, as Tamara just said, what you want to see. And that's at Ruth@soulsoundinsights.com.
Yes, and you can write to me, Tamara@tamarachilds.com. You can get a reading from me right now at one2listen.com. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and like the channel, subscribe if you want to see more of these and have them pop up in your feed. And
I also want to say, if you want to get an understanding more about your own chart, check me out in a discovery session, Star Compass Guide session for 30 minutes, complimentary, and then we can talk. Okay, and that's through your website, right? Yes, soulsoundinsights.com. Okay, perfect. Well, Ruth, until next week, enjoy this Cancer moon. I sure will. I'm going to swim in the proverbial waters. Me too. Bye, everybody. Bye.